Jesus Christ. All right, guys. A little coffee going. Where it's a little breezy out there and noisy. They're putting chains on their loads and the trucks are, moving out. So today we're going to burn I thought it was a Pedron because it looks identical. The band, the little shield, the size of the cigar, the diameter, the length, and the color. I thought it was a Pedron, which was my first cigar. And oddly enough, I smoked it in the Caribbean. I was visiting an island called Roatan. It's funny, I picked it out of my box and I said, okay, I'm going to say it's not. This is an H. Upmann, number 20. So I don't know, number 20. Never had this one before. So, not bad. Wow. This is another one from H. Upmann, the number 20. It's the other day I smoked the red label with the cedar wrapper here. And this one has a very good. It reminds me of the old Cubans when they were playing dominoes across the street. I would go there as a kid and just watch and basically doing the same thing I'm doing, smoking a cigar, drinking Cuban coffee, playing dominoes till 10 o'clock or so. And this aroma reminds me of that. But they will smoke a bigger diameter. And back then they didn't have the, I don't know, I don't think they had names. I know that the Cohiba was around, Bolivar was around, but all these new, aroma, a taste of Cuba, or all these other brands and names that people come up with. I don't think they were around, but the tobacco, this one really reminds me of that. Very good aroma. I'm kind of surprised. So if you like smoked cigars, try this one, H. Upmann number 20. So I'm going to talk about a little bit of everything because there's a few things that has happened that I have to mention. The other day, my phone decided to die because it got wet. I went to do a repair on a property. I went under the sink and I put the phone. I turned on the light, put the phone in there, and fixing the drip and everything. It got wet anyway, so it got ruined. And I went and got a new phone. So I'm talking to the guy, which is a Muslim, and I thought he was Iranian. He told me he was Lebanese, but I have a feeling that he's not. I have a feeling he's Iranian. I've known some Lebanese people, and this guy reacted very emotional. That tells me that he's Iranian. Iranians are very dramatic. And basically, the conversation started like this. He was listening Arabic radio station, and when I got in, he turned it off to attend to me. And after we got the deal done, he downloaded my stuff. He fixed the phone first, and then he downloaded my stuff to a new phone. All right. So I asked him, "What's going on with Iran?" He kind of like hesitated, and so he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, what's going on with Iran? They got offered a deal, and they're not talking." Or and he goes, "No, don't believe what they tell you." And I said, "Why not?" He goes, "You're hearing what they want to tell you, but they don't tell you that Iran wants to invest money in this country, trillions of dollars. And I'm going, Iran wants to invest trillions of dollars here? The great Satan, they call it. And I said, no, but Iran is, giving weapons to the Houthis, and the Houthis are attacking Israel. And when I said that, ooh, he jumped and he says, there's no Israel. And I said, yeah, the country of Israel. And man, this guy went off the handle. And he says, these people went there and they're killing millions of babies, and they're killing millions of children. And I said, well, they got attacked by Hamas. Yeah, but you know why? Because they attacked and they took over that area and that land. And I said, well, that land's supposed to be given to them by God. He goes, no, they went there in the 40s. And they just took it over. They said it's their country. And I said, well, if you remember in the Bible, it says that God appeared to Abraham in the city of Ur, and what is Babylon. And he kind of started looking at me like I was talking to him in Greek. And he's like looking at me like what? And I said, yeah, God talked to Abraham, told him, come over here, and this is going to be your land. And he says, where did you hear that? And I said, well, it's in the Bible. He goes, no, those are made up stories. And you're talking about ancient history. And I said, yeah, but they were there first. They were there first, and they started building their temples. And this guy that didn't want to hear it. Apparently, he doesn't read the Bible. He only reads the Quran, and I don't know what the hell the Quran says. But probably disputes everything that the Bible says. So he says, I don't like to talk to politics because, and I said, yeah, but you're kind of jumping at me because, apparently you don't know what I'm talking about, but you should know. So it brings up this point that the Jews don't read the Bible. They read the Torah and the Talmud, that other book that they have. So they know about what the Bible says because of the Christians talking about it. The Muslims don't read the Bible. They read the Quran. So they don't know what the Bible says. So that's why there's this argument and this fighting, because they don't want to believe the other one's story that is written in their religious book. Because the way he looked at me is like I was talking to him about something he'd never heard before. And I said, that's why they call it the promised land, because it was promised to them. I still don't know why, because there was really nothing there. If you're going to promise somebody a piece of land, give them a good piece of land. But to me, Israel, back then, now, yeah. But back then, it was just rocks. There was nothing there. So he was really pissed that the Israelis are killing everybody. And I said, well, they got attacked. Hello. And why the British brought them from Europe and took them there, and said because they got slaughtered in the Second World War. They got put on those camps, and the guy didn't want to hear it. Didn't want to hear any reason. He didn't want to hear. To him, it was just excuses that there was people living there. And I said, well, yeah, because the Jews were taken away and everybody moved in. But the problem is not the people from Gaza. The problem is the terrorists that there's in Gaza. Anyways, that kind of shook me a little bit, because this guy, I don't know if I should sit down with him or well, I'm not going to, but if I would have sat down with him and kind of explain a little historical background, because I'm a historian, but a lot of people are not. They just blow up, and that's what Iranians do. I know some Lebanese people. I got a Lebanese friend, good friend of mine, that I've known him since I was 30, and I never seen him go off like that. I was dating a Lebanese girl. The family was very, very polite. The mother spoke French. the sisters, she had good looking sisters too. Everybody was polite. I never heard anybody blow up. And this guy, with the way he did it, and I said, oh no, he's Iranian. The Lebanese are more mellow. They're more mellow. They're more. Uh, they're not fanatical Islamics. They're more European Arabs. Let me put it that way. They're a little more modern, a little more. But this guy, Jesus Christ, that kind of took me back a little bit because I, and then I said, okay, all right, well, thank you. And I paid him, I paid him for what I owe him. And I got out of there. But man, and I think what it is also, he's listening to a lot of propaganda that is brainwashing all these people the same way he told me that I'm being brainwashed by what are we being told in the West. So what are you going to do? You can't believe one, you can't believe the other. That was kind of, in a way, he has a point. We getting fed what they want us to know. There's a lot of other stuff that they don't want us to know. But anyways, what are you going to do? Okay. Next page. On my last video, I was talking about the revolver, and I kept saying my gun was 3-inch, and my gun is 3-inch. It's not. The other day, I said, you know what? Let me double check this, because I started looking at videos of people with 3-inch guns, and they looked a little longer. And I'm going, let me see. So I got my measuring tape, and I took the gun out, and it's 2 1/4. 2 1/4. It's not 3 inches at all. I'm going, Jesus Christ. And I kept saying it has to be 3-inch minimum. It's 2 1/4. Well, what I'm going to do. But I didn't know they made a gun that short. I thought it was 2 1/2, the shortest, and then 2 3/4, and then 3, right? So, but I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to keep it because I like it. It's a good revolver. And but I kind of laughed at myself. I'm going, you idiot! You should have measured it before you open your mouth, because it's 2 1/4. So now, if I'm planning on getting that 44, which I'm kind of leaning to that, the 44 Magnum with a 4-inch, or maybe 3 1/2, if they make a 3 1/2, I don't know. So I started looking at guns, right? Smith & Wesson, Taurus, what's the other one? Ruger, Colt, etc., etc. Turns out, I'm looking at everybody shooting, right? And some of these guys, even though they're young, they got flabby arms, and when they shoot in slow motion, the whole arm goes woo, woo, just waves. Because the gun kicks. And some people are saying the gun kicks, especially the Model 69, which is a light Smith & Wesson. I think it's 5 shots with a rubber grip and stainless, which I like stainless. And, so I started looking at everybody shooting. And then I get to this video from Scooch. I seen some of his videos, and he was shooting the Taurus 44 Magnum, and the barrel was ported on top, 3 holes. They had one that it was a short barrel, and the other one was 4 inches. So Scooch is shooting, and I'm looking at the whole gun, and what I do is I look at the background. If it's a building or there are bushes or whatever, and I'm looking at the end of the barrel, and I'm looking to see when he shoots, how far up does it go. So when it goes, boom, I look at the background, keep my eye there, and wait for him to bring it down, and then visually kind of measure the same way I measure my barrel, and see more or less how many inches did it kick up. And let me tell you what, that Taurus, made in Brazil, does not kick much because of the Magnum porting on the barrel. And I say, oh, I like that. I like that because what's the use of having a Magnum if you can't control it? It was just going toom, toom. This is it. I mean, two movement, maybe less. And that kind of impressed me. I said, you know what? I never seen that gun in person. I seen the Smith and I seen the Rugers, but I never seen the Taurus in person. And I think the gun's only been around just a few years. If I'm gonna get a 44 Magnum, I think that will be the one. The Smith and Wesson should have been Magnum ported, and it's not. There's one that's got a Smith and Wesson's got a tapered barrel. So I don't remember if they mentioned the weight on the Taurus, and I think it was a 5-shot because if you go 6-shot, now you're going massive. The frame is bigger and everything else. But if you have 5 shots instead of 6, 5 shots that you can control is better than having 6 that you can't control. Because I've seen guys shooting and they're all over the place. They don't hit nothing. There was another guy shooting at a 50-yard distance, I think it was. And from the very first shot, he was hitting the plate. The plate was only 8 inches, and he was ping, ping, ping with a Taurus. So that's a plus. Then you can actually hit what you're aiming with a Magnum, because if a bear pops up, there was a couple of guys shooting with an oversized revolver that I think it was a Smith, and they had a chest holster, and the gun was the barrel sticking out to here, and they have this picture of a bear charging you on a railing, and then they pull it with I think they have a little winch, and it just hit the button. The thing goes, and it comes to you real quick. And the guy managed. The first shot he missed, and the size is about half the size of a refrigerator, more or less. And he missed. Then he said, "Well, we should do a second shot." So when he shot the second time, he hit on the lower. The head is here. He kind of hit down here. And only one. He can only get one shot. And the other guy tried it, one shot. The other guy tried it. So that means that you cannot have a long barrel gun for bear defense, because by the time you aim, he's on top of you. You need something short, something snubby. That's why I kind of like my 357. And if I want to get a 44, it's going to be between 4.3 or 2 3/4, because that's very important for a quick draw and aim. Very important. Then on my Dan Wesson, when I noticed, because I bought the gun and I put it away, and for 2 years when I first took it, shot it, because you're busy with things, with your life and everything around you. I didn't notice that it was a 2 1/4. I thought it was a 3. Anyways, the holster, it's made for a 3-inch, I think. Yeah, it's for a 3-inch. So I'm kind of shopping around for that fits snugly, and I went to Amazon and I put down Dan Wesson. I know, and then all these holsters popped up, but they were made for either Colt or Smith and Wesson. They don't mention Dan Wesson specifically. I know that Dan Wesson, it's almost like a Smith and Wesson, because Dan Wesson was partner with Smith. I don't know his name, but so that's why it's Smith and Wesson. So he probably did the same frame and everything the same as Smith and Wesson. Anyways, I'm planning on getting another holster for that gun. I got to look at the company that I bought the other one for my 45. It's a good. So then, on the 44, I'm gonna get I'm really leaning towards a Taurus. Taurus make good guns. Never heard of a problem with a. I got a friend that has a Taurus 9 millimeter. He shot the hell out of that semi-auto. It looks like a Beretta, identical. And he shot the hell out of that gun. Never jammed, never had a problem that I know of. So, and a revolver is going to have a lot less problems than a semi-auto. So then the uh, the next thing to be, it would be to find a holster for that particular gun. But that impressed me that Scoot was shooting that gun and he was hitting. So that's pending. That's in the future. Okay. Now, today, for the first time ever, I seen a a presidential cabinet meeting with President Trump live on TV. That has never happened with any president. I don't think even with Reagan. And they went around the table. They had like 28 members because I counted them. And everybody is kicking ass in their department. Especially the blonde that's in charge of the and I think it was the Department of Security of National Security, something like that. That they have gotten tons of coke, they've gotten tons of amphetamines, and they have gotten 200,000 of pills, and they've been getting, and they've been getting some money confiscated from these drug dealers and everything. They're cleaning house, man. I'm telling you, these people are doing a great job, and they talk just about everything. The only thing that they didn't talk about that I was waiting, Marco Rubio didn't mention anything about the Panama Canal. So I don't know what's going on there. Is it pending? Is it done? Do they have a deal? Are they taking the Panama Canal back? Are they going to put a military base? Didn't talk about that. Now, when they finished, everybody did the report, including Kennedy, that he wants a better nutrition for the kids, which is a great idea in the schools. That's what the Japanese do, by the way. The Japanese don't allow you to bring food from your house. They have a specially prepared food for the kids. They don't drink sodas. And there's no obesity in schools. No obesity in public, because they have their own type of food. They don't have these fat burgers, and because the country is paying attention about the nutrition of the population in their country. That's what this country should do too, because we have what is it, 49% or 52% of the people are fat and obese and stuff. And it's because what they eat, obviously. And then if any Japanese moves to Hawaii, they get fat because the food there is different. And the Hawaiians are fat. They're big people. The Samoans are famous for being big people. It's because of what they eat. Panama Canal is, I can probably look it up and find out what happened there. But when they finished the report, the media immediately jumped on Trump, that the economy and the tariffs and the economy. And I didn't pay attention because the media, I kind of walked away because I already saw the whole meeting. The media always concentrates on embarrassing President Trump, or on putting him, pushing him against the wall with questions to embarrass him. And I didn't even pay attention to the questions because apparently they don't know. These people are very reactive. They don't kind of sit back and analyze things. I'm not saying that I know 100%, but I have an idea what's going on. And if the president didn't mention it, for a reason, and I know the reason, I'm not going to say what it is. But let me tell you, it's working. It's working because it's going to be good for everybody. It's going to be good for everybody. Just remember that to make an omelet, you have to break some eggs. Right now, everybody says that they're hurting and then gas already's gone down. It's 2.93. I got my wife. It's in Alabama right now. I called her out. I say, "What's gas over there?" 2.93. Over here, we're paying 4.35 because of the taxes here. So the gas already's gone down. The Department of Energy is working on making things better. The tariffs are working. There are new deals happening. But the main thing, people are always thinking about the now, the today, but they don't think about the tomorrow. The main thing is that what Trump wanted to do, that he's doing, it's working. And it's working for the better. It's working for the better. You'll know in the future what it is. I am not going to say, but I know it's working. And it's going to make big changes. It's going to make changes with what he's doing. Everybody is crying about everything expensive. Yeah, it was expensive when he got in because the Biden administration made everything worse. You know, fuel prices and not giving permits to drilling and obligating people to buy electric cars and just warping everything to their agenda, not what people need or people want. It's supposed to be in a free country. You want to get what you want, not what they want you to get, and make you get it. Everything it's being done with rationale and logic, common sense. Okay, so we're gonna see the results. I would say within 3 to 4 months, you're gonna hear about it. But I know what's coming. I know what's happening right now. I figured it out, and he's doing the right thing, and he's doing it the right way. Believe me, he's doing it the right way. So we'll see in the future, but it's good. It's going to be good. Unless some psycho like Putin decides to go nuclear. Because now another thing that's happening is Europe, it's already getting ready for war. Uh, I think it's Lithuania. It's already signing up men from 18 to 70. From 18 to 70 years old in the military. Of course, you're not going to be fighting physically if you're 70, but you're going to be doing administrative work. You're going to be doing the support and, either medical or food or driving a truck or something for the military. But the young men are the ones going to be fighting, and they're getting ready for war because they know that now Russia, he wants to finish up with Ukraine and then keep going. And that's something that Trump is trying to work it out, but Putin is not a reasonable man. People think he is. He's not. He is hell bent on taking back the old Russian Empire. He wants the Eastern Bloc countries, Poland and everybody, Lithuania and Estonia and all those little countries. He wants to grab them again, and that's going to be the next big move. And there, it's kind of unpredictable. It's unpredictable because apparently Russia or Putin doesn't want to end his term. He's been president for what? How many terms? He doesn't want to end up as a failure because he's going to be a laughing stock in history, right? And he doesn't like that. He's very proud. He wants to finish with a bang so people can remember him. And that's dangerous. That is dangerous. Everything else, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We'll see what happens. All right. I'm going to smoke a little bit of my cigar. This is a 1 hour cigar, I think. And then we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.